Hey, good afternoon, all. Today we have Nielet. Nielet joins us. She is a security expert, senior security engineer at Datadog, and she will be discussing us about the GenAI adoption and the security threats she looks in this landscape. Nielet, thank you. Thanks for taking time to talk to us. And it would be really helpful, Nielet, if you can tell us about your background and what you do at Datadog.
For sure, I'd love to. So I have a decade-long experience in the security software space, previously at McAfee and Intel. Currently, I work in the application and product security space at Datadog and primarily security design, security baselines, threat modeling at product and feature level.
Nice. Cool. Thank you, Nilet. Nilet, if you see, right, the Gen AI is becoming like a next revolution. It's pretty big revolution going on. So, what do you think? Means, do you think it is worth the hype it is going, or it's just like some hype it is just building up? So, what do you think about this Gen AI getting so bigger and so exploding like anything?
Interesting question. I would say it's a significant technology advancement. While calling it a revolution might still be an overstatement, it's undoubtedly a very powerful and transformative technology. And the reason for that is there's so many upsides, right? We are seeing like personally and collectively increased productivity with automating repetitive tasks or even enhanced creativity. If you want to ideate through something, it's a lot easier to do that. And even data analysis and insights with processing and analyzing large amount of data, some of the models have gotten so sophisticated. So this is definitely a significant technological advancement. That's how I like to see it.
Cool. So as you see, right, so Gen AI adoption has been increasing like pretty strongly. So what are the most significant threats that you are seeing at becoming being a security expert at Datadog? So what are the most significant security threats that you are seeing with the adoption of Gen AI? Pretty wild.
Yeah, so while there are so many upsides to Gen AI and its adoption, we should also definitely be talking about what security threats they can pose us, right? Like AI technology, specifically Gen AI, they pose risks that can negatively impact like not just individuals, but groups, organizations, community, society. And even if like you look at a larger scale, like environment and planet too. Like for example, these AI systems, they can be trained on data that changes over time. Sometimes it's very significant, sometimes it's unexpected. And this can be affecting its system functionality. Most importantly, the trustworthiness of that system. And also, one important thing to point out here is AI systems are inherently socio-technical in nature. So, meaning they are influenced by societal dynamics, and human behavior, right? So, the AI risks and benefits that can emerge, it's there's a combination of factors at play. So, we can even dive into very specifics. And there are a lot of resources for us to now understand this, right? Like data poisoning and model manipulation. For example, adversaries could potentially inject malicious data into the training sets, and this could lead to biased or compromised AI models that produce harmful outputs. Or a second good example would be prompt injection attacks. Like malicious actors can prompt or like craft inputs that trick AI systems into performing any unintended action or even revealing sensitive information. So this in particular is very concerning for like AI chatbots and assistants, like which are getting more and more adoption across the industry.
Totally. So, as you see, right? So, when internet came into picture, at the same time, soon after that, security solution also started coming and to safeguard the usage of internet. So, do you think, and security also had been going hand to hand, if not with the same pace, but at least trying to cover up with whatever security threats we are seeing in the industry. So, do you think existing security solutions will be sufficient for the risks that Gen AI adoption is bringing to the table?
See, Gen AI introduces novel challenges, that traditional security measures weren't specifically designed to handle. So many of the existing tools may not be adequately equipped in terms of detecting or preventing AI specific threats, like the ones we discussed before, model poisoning, prompt injection attacks. It also introduces unique attack surfaces, like, such as model interfaces or um, training pipelines, which aren't like typically covered by conventional security measures. So there's currently a lack of widely adopted security standards and best practices specifically for AI systems, which makes it difficult for existing solutions to provide standardized protection. And another thing that's worth pointing out is traditional security measures, they do not address ethical implications and potential biases in AI systems, and which are becoming increasingly important security concerns as well.
Totally. So what I understood is from you is like Gen AI is bringing different aspects or different places or avenues of the exploitation, which were not exposed earlier in the older way of means looking at the internet or looking at different websites, all those things. Like there was no model poisoning, there was no prompt injection attacks, but now with Gen AI adoption, this all things are coming up into picture. Cool,
Lot of
got it.
novel, yes.
Got it. So, what are the key challenges that you think that are with because there are already some solution. Maybe some of the things we can not those like prompt injection on and all, but there are some things we can cover up like public LLM usage or other things. But what are the key challenges? What you think that are there while integrating Gen AI with the existing cybersecurity frameworks? Means, what are the frameworks and what are those challenges when means if you want to safeguard our Gen AI with those security frameworks, what are the challenges we are facing?
Yeah. I mean, many of the current cybersecurity frameworks, they weren't designed with AI specific risks in mind,
Totally,
right? Like
totally.
Gen AI models, they can be frequently updated or even they can be fine-tuned. Potentially, this alters their behavior and the security posture. So, uh, also they require a vast amount of training data and operations. So, this comes from diverse sources. So, extending data governance policies to cover AI training data, model outputs, AI systems themselves. Uh, at the same time, you also need to maintain or ensure compliance with data protection regulations as well, right? So many organizations, they use pre-trained models or AI services from third parties. So this means that extending supply chain security measures to cover AI models and data sets and services, you also need to make sure you're maintaining the integrity and security of it. On the other side, I do think like there are two frameworks that are getting a lot of attention. The NIST AI risk management framework. I feel that's a very flexible, adaptable framework for organizations of all sizes. It does a really good job at describing the risks and the trade-offs and things like that. It's definitely worth a read for anyone who's like a practitioner in this space. And the EU AI Act is also very interesting in terms of how this pioneering law is looking to balance innovation, but at the same time, protection of individual rights. So these two are, I think, definitely worth a mention and something that I am paying attention to.
Cool. So, how do you ensure the ethical use of Gen AI in cybersecurity? Particularly because Gen AI also brings up privacy and biasness and other things, right? So, how you ensure the ethical use of Gen AI?
Yeah, yeah, this is definitely a critical challenge because it requires like a multifaceted approach. Um, because some measures need to be in place for the ethical frameworks, guidelines, usage of any privacy preserving techniques as well. So making sure like responsible AI emphasizes the human centricity of it, is aware of its social responsibility and also the sustainability of it. So yeah, this definitely is a critical challenge.
Got it. So, what strategy do you recommend for organization? Because if you see, right, so they are mostly all every organization is trying to use Gen AI as to enhance its productivity and other things, right? So,
Yeah.
what strategy would you recommend for organizations to stay ahead of advanced AI attacks?
See, as much as advancements are improving, like the field of adversarial AI is also rapidly evolving. So like you rightly called out, and new attack vectors are also like constantly emerging out of it. So having a minimum of secure AI development practice, a defense in depth approach to implementing, multiple security controls around these AI systems, even real-time monitoring around detecting anomalies in the AI behavior and incorporating adversarial examples into model training. That way you can improve the resilience of your system. So these are some ways in which I think you can ensure security as well as trust and safety of these systems.
Got it. And so there are a lot of advancements in Gen AI, right? And what are the most important ones that you are excited about? And what do you think the security industry needs to take care in terms of safely enabling Gen AI adoption?
Yeah, for me personally, I think the adoption of Gen AI tools can have a lot more positive feels to it as more and more people are trying out different tools that are coming out here from coding, development, ideation, content creation. And by that, I mean it's very useful. It's good for learning, it's good for research, for prototyping, even putting together a proof of concept. So I'd like these advancements to be able to use them more seamlessly day in and day out. um, on the other side, I think that collectively, security industry needs this culture of sharing knowledge around good AI for opportunities and bad AI around threats. So more of that.
Got it. So, as you are a security expert at Datadog, right? So, as a security expert or a CISO of a particular organizations, so what things that you think a particular security expert or CISO needs to keep in mind or to get ready for the new security threats that are coming up with this Gen AI adoption?
Yeah, can't speak for the CISO side, but as an individual contributor who day in and day out deals with a lot of systems at scale and emerging use cases around it, I definitely think that learning about how these technologies work, how they are used, how they impact in terms of opportunities and threats is very important. It's like fundamental. How these can harm people, how these can harm organization, how these can harm ecosystems is also something that we need to be very well educated about. And that's probably a good starting point, I feel.
Yeah, and as you see, right, totally. With every day, new things are coming in Gen AI. It's new advancements coming up, and one CISO or what the security expert should be like more focused on looking at what are the new threats that are coming daily. There is something new, right? I remember when I used to work for malware, every day there used to be like a 300K new malwares coming. So the same type of volume will be soon somewhere sitting here at the Gen AI with new Gen AI threats will be keep evolving. Totally. So, what my last question? So, what advice would you give to the cybersecurity startups like us, Swift Security, which is focusing on safely enabling Gen AI adoption? So, what advice you give to us to what areas to focus and how to tackle this Gen AI adoption with safely enabling?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, the mission and vision is really well aligned because that's something we need more. Keeping it simple, highlighting the opportunities of adopting these technologies, and how your offering helps is important. Maybe not overly focusing on the FUD cult, but more so on these opportunities of safely enabling organizations to adopt Gen AI. That would be something I would like see more startups focus on.
Cool. Thank you, Neeraj. Thank you. Thanks for your time today. It was
It
really
was
fun talking
lovely.
to you.
It was
Thank
lovely
you.
chatting with you. Thanks for the insightful questions.
Thank you. Thanks, Neeraj.